Nice. Actually,
Oh,
Chad's never met Matt in person.
no.
So, Chad, Matt, Chad.
You're doing with this thing now.
He's the one we call Scuba.
Scuba Steve.
Scuba Steve, DJ Scuba, yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for joining me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's
Is
always fun to talk rock music with people, so.
Yeah, I think we got at least one more coming. I'm going to text Marcus. Marcus should be here.
Singers are fashionably late all the time, aren't they?
It's funny that you're the only
just late
play with that's ever on time. So
Did I ever tell you the joke? What does a terrorist and a lead singer have in different?
Indifferent, not in common.
Not in common.
Now, what's that?
You can negotiate with the terrorist.
That's true.
Hopefully, at least.
Yeah. Let's see. Just texted Marcus, waiting on Scotty.
I assume Jess is in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, he said he wasn't able to make it, unfortunately. He's been herding some chickens this weekend or something.
Is that
Actual chickens?
hold on. Is that my phone doing?
What's that?
Okay. When people know I'm doing an interview, they like to just call me just to test my patience.
That's funny. That's every time I'm flying on an approach, people call me.
Okay, here's what the rest of your shirt
I have
says.
to leave.
Can't read the font.
What's that, Jen?
Oh, Chad's
Chad.
shirt.
I think Chad got booted somehow. He'll be back. He'll be back.
Oh.
There he is.
Every time someone calls me, it mutes my.
You're muted right now. Whoops.
I swear, never fails.
Yeah. Sharks will kill you. Chad likes sharks a lot. It's his thing.
Sharks will kill you faster than COVID.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except sharks. Sharks will kill you,
Oh,
guys.
is that what it says?
Yeah.
Oh, you have better eyesight than I do.
I don't know. Maybe.
Can you text Joe and tell him to quit blowing up my phone, please? Yeah.
Well, so you said it's just you three, so we can.
Yeah, for now. If they come in, they'll come in. We can
Okay,
get
yeah,
started.
sounds good.
We're on your time here.
Yeah, you know, I'm chill, so just go with the flow.
Cool.
Well, I guess I can start by saying I really dig your new single, The Divide.
Thank you.
Really cool vibe and melody. The production is very stellar. So was this song written during the pandemic?
Yeah, it started last March, I think. I was actually out with Chad at his house working with his band, and Marcus was with me because they need a singer. So like they've been just like going through singer or having issues with singers. Chad, you can talk more about that if you want, but we were helping him out. So we ended up five. We ended up coming back to the city and dropping off one of his guys and met up with Matt, this guy, and Marcus, the singer, and we ended up all just hanging out and like listening to music. I hadn't talked to either of these guys in a long time. We were just like, having dinner, some beers, listening to music, and like showed them all the demos that I was working on, and like they're like, oh shit. So and like a week later, Marcus came out to working with Matt in the studio in the city, I'm sorry, on some of this stuff, but then came out to Long Island. Here's the wife. It came out to my house in the studio, and we started just writing. We had like 10 songs that are like almost done right now, but a lot more on hold too. So like it just worked out. Like we just banged out a bunch of them. 3 of them came together really quick, and those are the 3 that we're going to be releasing over the next couple of months. So we got 1 out now, and then 2 more on the way. But other than that, we basically been doing everything remotely during the pandemic. So it's been a challenge. Like even just laying down the drums with Chad. He's got I set him up with mics at his place, and just did it all like live with Audio Movers, which is a software program that like allows you to hear the high quality audio. And it's not the best way of doing things. I prefer to do things face to face, but you got to work with what you're given at this point in time. So it's all coming together nicely.
Yeah, no, that's fairly impressive that it was done remotely, because when I was listening to it, it sounded like it was done in like a, the original style of recording in a studio.
That's cool.
Yeah. And this is first released in over a decade. So how do you feel like the band has kind of grown musically since the last release?
I don't want to answer all the questions here, but I think our production style is a little more mature, just because like we're all a little bit smarter with our gear, our instruments, our ears, our knowledge of sound design and everything. So it's just a little bit easier to get the sound we're looking for. And at least personally for me, every time we've gone to the studio in the past, it's been hit or miss. Like we go in there with these demos that we have a sound in mind, and then we come out of the studio, it's like, yeah, it's not really what we were going for, and it still sounds good, but it's like, it's missing something. So now it's like a little bit easier to focus in on the sound that we really want. Matt, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I don't think the style itself so much has changed as the over time technology changes to allow you to do things more yourself at home. I mean, to Val's point, we had, for all the albums that we did before, it was, we knew what we wanted going in, and then it's a matter of trying to recreate the magic a second time, which sometimes you just can't get. You get close. I mean, the notes are the same, the parts are the same, but something may not be exactly the same.
Singer incoming.
Yeah. So being able to do it yourself kind of on the first shot, right? Create the magic then and then keep it. That's kind of nice, being able to do it all ourselves. And I think that's just a matter of technology changing so fast and being able to do it at home versus having to pay for a studio.
You could take your time.
Yeah.
With this pandemic, we all have jobs. I'm in another band, and because of the pandemic, time stands still kind of mentality, we were able to all come together and try to squeeze as much as we could in this amount of time to try to knock out some songs. Like I said, if this pandemic, I don't even know if these songs would even be done right now.
I don't think they would. I think that's spot on.
So I think with Vali kind of talking about the technology that we have, we would like to see face to face, but you gotta be smart with it. So Vali did some investigation on what we could use to record drums, and he downloaded this software. My brain is like a walnut sometimes when it comes to wanting to learn new stuff, and he kind of educated me, started getting me going on my little tiny studio, and we would just kind of send ideas back and forth. He'd be like, this is kind of where I'm looking for the drums. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but this and that. So you're not face to face, you're like emailing or over a telephone, but we made what we could make work in that time. And I think the final production of it turned out really good for not seeing face to face and having everyone in the same room. Like Vali and I did the drums together, but the guys weren't there. So it's like they couldn't have their input at that moment in time, where it's like, oh, why don't you try that while I'm recording it? So it was like, what do you think about this final take? That's the only downfalls about like sending files and getting everybody's approval and all that kind of stuff.
No, that's amazing. And hi, Marcus. Thanks for joining.
Hi. Sorry about that.
Where are you, Marcus? Oh, you're in the solo zone.
Thick of it.
Solo zone.
Yeah.
With the city.
It was cool watching Chad do live recordings, though. Even though obviously we're in the same area, but where Vali is now, he was just like live streaming, recording with him for I think it was a day and a half when I was there doing vocals. And that's something I don't usually interact with. Like, if we were to record drums, it's at a studio and it's not Singer Day, and I'm not going to be there, basically. So it's kind of nice to know, how that works. Just drumming, though.
Yeah. And you guys did a Twitch thing, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we did a few of them just for like writing sessions because we've been working like I've been working with Shim on that stuff, and he's like turned me on to Twitch. Shim Mamori is the former singer of the Sick Puppies. He does some live songwriting stuff on Twitch, and he's got a pretty big following doing that, and I think he's making pretty good money doing it too, which is awesome. So I did a few songs with him where he just sent me like I gave him access to like a lot of my demo files, and he's been writing over my demo files on live on his stream, and then he sends me the the finished vocals, whatever, and I mix this stuff live on my Twitch stream, and he sends me a ton of people. So I'm trying to incorporate that into this band and more focus it around the band so we could just connect with the fans more and create more of like a community for,
because that's the only way you can right now.
Yeah, right.
No one knows the band because you can't tour it. I mean, I've been a fan of the band. Like, just a backstory is Volley was my drum student and a fan of my drumming, and that's how we met. And then he's like, do you mind if I show you some of my demos? And I thought it was just going to be him drumming. And I'm like, this stuff is amazing. Like, who wrote it? He's like, I played everything on it. And I was like, and you're here for drum lessons? Like, maybe I should be taking lessons from you. And we built a relationship just around that, of just drum lessons. And then we became really good friends. And then I brought him in to certain projects that I was doing, and he was helping me understand the technology of recording, which is really hard for me at times, calling him at like, midnight, like, yo, bro, I'm doing this session. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me out? Yeah, I'll help you out. So he's controlling my keyboard. So I'm seeing the mouse go like this, and I have no control. I'm like, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. So I'm going to be on your good side because you got all blackmail on my laptop right now. But then I met Marcus when I'm in a band called Walking with Lions, and Volley's been the producer and engineer for that whole thing. And as we were looking for singers, he brought in Marcus, and we've always been a fan of Marcus's voice. And we were like, yeah, let's have him just come in and just come up with some ideas. And then we built our relationship through that. And then Volley was like, do you want to drum on some stuff? And I was like, sure, I'd be honored. And then here we are today, knocking out songs. And I think for the amount of time and through the stipulations that we've had, I think we've came up with some really good stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing. Can you imagine like if there was no social media or no technology during this pandemic time? It would be,
well, we would have to be together. I mean, there's ways around it where it's like you can cry all you want, but it's like if there wasn't social media, I think there would be way more interaction with people. That's the only way you would have to get stuff done, right? So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a blessing and a curse. It's like you're not in the same room anymore. You don't have to be. You can record your own records by yourself. You don't need a blown $700,000 studio now. You just need a little tiny bit of knowledge and some stuff here and there, and you can record your own record. And I mean, like, Volley's doing it in his basement and coming out with quality that I've been in studios $3,000 a day, and he's putting out stuff as good or even better in my eyes, quality. So it's really the artist and the engineer and producer that can make anything work. It's not like you have to be in a grand studio and this and that and have the best vocal mic. If you can sing, you can sing. It does help, but if you suck, it also enhances you sucking too. So. But yeah, we're really stoked for what the future is for this band and like putting out as many songs as we possibly can, but staying true to the Bulletproof Messenger kind of vibe. I'm not here to, even though I have my own style, I'm still trying to complement the old stuff. And Volley is a big songwriter in this whole thing, mainly the songwriter, and he knows what the vision of the band is. And so when someone tells you this is how the drum should sound, and you're like, well, I'm a drummer, you kind of have to put your ego on the shelf and go, what do you think? Like, can we meet halfway here? And you're going to bicker. That's what bands do. I think it's in our DNA. But at the end of the day, we all want what's right for the sound and for the band,
Absolutely. And what is your vision for this new chapter for the band? Where are you hoping it goes?
Yeah,
Mark, you want to start this one just because you just came in? You haven't had much airtime here.
Okay, you know how much I like talking. I mean, vision for the band is, continue as long as possible and keep pumping out songs. We're already probably 8 or 9 songs ahead at this point, and trying to kind of work backwards and work with Chad, obviously, and finalize some pieces, but also the normal dynamics of reconnecting with the fans and pushing things out through the various channels and merch and all this stuff that we're trying to coordinate. So, it's nice to see it kind of ramp back up into that machine that it sort of was pre 2009. But quite honestly, things are much easier nowadays, especially either pumping out songs fast or pushing them to our audience very quickly. I love having those levers nowadays. And in some ways, the pandemic helps because people are stuck home listening to music.
That's very
I think that's been a huge advantage to us, actually, because the way we operate, it's really piecemeal and hard to get together anyway. So we have an advantage over other bands in that respect, that we've kind of like learned how to operate like that over the years, and it's still not perfect by any means, but we've taken advantage of it and we're doing pretty good with it right now. Us all having our own side jobs, or main jobs, it makes it even harder to like put time into it. But luckily my job's a little bit less constrictive than some of the other guys. So like I can just work on this stuff like as much as possible. But I would like to see this go to the point where we're like self-sustaining, making like, I hate to talk about the monetary side of it, but just making enough money that it's like, all right, we can really like just build it, and like it takes care of itself. Like we don't have to put any money into it. It just, and then from there build it to maybe we can make something all out of it. And if we can do that, we'll do this forever. So, that's huge for us, I think.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you guys are hoping to hit the road again once, live shows are able to happen again.
We haven't even breached that channel yet, but we definitely like, I'd love to play a show here or there. The trick is like playing the right shows. So I think a lot of bands go out there like, we just got to play, we got to tour, we got to like, hit 5 people in every city, and it's worth it. It's not like it's not worth it, but at our age and our, with all the other stuff we got going on, we got to maximize every show we play if we do play a show. So in the past, we've opened for we've only played shows opening for bigger acts just because it gets our music out there, and it's stressful because you only play for 15 minutes sometimes, and you get up there and you just got to move all your equipment on stage, hope everything works, and then play and then get off stage. But we've managed to, the response has always been good. So it's just got to make sense for us to play a show, because playing for a bar for like 3 people is like, not saying it's not a worthy way of operating, but it's it's just
that's an ideal, right?
Well, I mean, I'd rather be spending that day like writing a song or doing something that'll like move the ball forward a little bit. It's like the Pareto principle. It's like 80% of your efforts give you, or 20% of your efforts give you 80% of your results.
People don't realize, like, and I've been doing it 25 years, even longer, professionally, and been blessed to be able to do that, especially in a pandemic right now. But I don't think people realize when people are like, yeah, man, you don't play for the love of music anymore. And I'm like, well, if I played for the love of music, I wouldn't be playing music. Because you have to make a living to be able to express your art by funds. And when he's saying playing in front of 3 people, we would, anybody will do it, but is it beneficial to be able to play for 3 people for the rest of your career? No. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it costs money to make a record. It costs money to get gear. It costs money to set up tours and get a crew and all that. And people don't look at it, but it really is like starting a Taco Bell. This is a corporation, so everything needs money to make it move.
Probably
when you're playing in front of 3 people, I would do it. I've done that. I've played from selling out arenas to playing in bars. And to me, everybody is as important as the next person. It's just, it's not lucrative when you're playing in front of 3 people and exhausting yourself, and then getting into a van with your guys and then doing it all over again. And then when it comes down to payday and you're like, well, I made $500 for a month. How about you?
Oh, by the way, we got to split that 6 ways.
Right.
It's just, you're like 40 some years old and you're like, okay, here's the deal. Guys, this ain't working. I just lost my house,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
and that's the reality of it. Everyone still plays for the love of music. That's why we love music. But again, it's like, do you go to your job and work for free?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so it's the same thing. Ours is more about art, and what we put into it hopefully comes out at the other end of the, you know, tunnel. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, with this pandemic, man, a lot of people have broken up, and it's quite sad that this infectious disease or this virus has put you out of a career, and that's what you strive to be. But this thing is allowing, and I don't think that's what Volley is really allowing it to do, is like putting a hold. He's like, we're putting it out. We're going to put it out. Let's get all the guys on board. Let's promote it. I know we can't tour it, but we can at least get our music out. So awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure the fans appreciate just to hear new music from you guys. So,
And they're talented guys. I mean, just me just playing drums on it. They're all talented. Scuba adds his, you know, his textures. Jesse adds his textures. I add my crap, you know. Marcus puts his awesome melodies, and Volley kind of rounds it off and says, okay, let's get this. This is taken away from the vocals. So you got to have one guy driving the car. And sometimes you're like, you're driving too fast. Pull over, let me drive, you know? So it's like, I trust him. He's not going to crash into a wall. He's got the vision. Let him do it. Because if you got so many chefs in the kitchen, it's like, no, man, you need to make a right there. No, forget him. Make a left. It's like, so you kind of have to like be Dr. Phil. Everyone's got issues, and we all have issues. So.
Absolutely. Well, so you said you have around 8 songs so far. When do you think, are you going to just slowly release them as singles every few months?
Yeah, so the plan with that is, I mean, obviously it's we've been trying to keep up, you know, so we want to, optimally it'd be great to release a song every 6 to 8 weeks is like the sweet spot, but like we extended that a little bit, so we're going to take 12 weeks in between every release just so we can get our, you know, it's all about just constantly promoting the songs when they're out there. And like I think a lot of bands in general like go into this with the idea of like, hey, just release the song and then do, you know, just say, hey, we released the song, and that's all it takes. But like you got to create like a lot of content behind each song you produce, and it, you know, it's extremely important. And like I hate to talk about this guy, but like Lil Nas X like just made like that song that he released, Old Town Road, whatever, it was nothing when it came out. He just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and like making videos about it, making like any little content he could just to tie it to something. And it started gaining traction. And now it's like the most like listened to song of all time. He's got over 1 billion, like a couple billion streams on that thing, I think. And if you look at like the money he made off of streams of that alone, Spotify pays 0.0033 cents a stream. He made like over $1 million just streaming that one song, which is.
I think he listened to Nickelback, to be honest, and said, "I'm gonna turn this into a rap song."
Yeah, I mean it's just kind of crazy to me. Like, so shit, what was the question again?
So it's all about marketing, I guess, like being smart
Well,
about marketing.
Yeah, just keep pushing it. Like, you know, it's not just about like, yeah, so it's like 3 months between songs, but like there's a lot that we can do with the songs in that time, like while the release cycle is on. So, you know, just putting a little money in marketing campaigns and doing it, like trying to get some radio airplay, trying to up our Spotify streams as much as possible, and our YouTube subscribers. Like those are like the 3 big, I guess, tenets of like, you know, how to push forward, because more people discover more music from YouTube than all other platforms combined, which is kind of crazy. So if you keep putting videos out like every couple of weeks, and it doesn't have to be something crazy. We got a visualizer coming out soon. We got a lyric video coming out. And the hardest thing that we've never really been able to do is put together a full-fledged music video. But we're trying to put something together like that, like being separated like this, that it's pretty close to a full professional video. And like as the release cycles get farther and farther out, like we get better at doing these things and have like a system going, it'll be a lot easier. And then eventually we can start making some really high quality video content, I think, like that. And and that's really what's going to get us going. But if you release some kind of thing on YouTube around the song every couple of weeks, they like that algorithm, and that helps you get in front of more people. And then with Spotify, it all works together. So that's the whole plan. And then every 3 weeks or every 3 months, we release a new song, and hopefully we'll do that and get better at this stuff. And we could pull that release cycle down to like 6 to 8 weeks, get in a sweet spot. And that's what I would like to see. But we haven't done this in 10 years, so we're just like, I think we're doing pretty good right now for where we're at. But we're always looking to improve and get better at it.
I think like if you look at the bands, picture the band. I know this is going to sound like a weird comparison, but picture a band as the coronavirus, right? COVID-19. We don't know much about COVID until it was all over the media every day, the stats, the fear, all this crap, right? That's the social media that you want to present. You got to make it so infectious that, like Vali says, every day it's something, a new content. And the more you hear about it, the more it's talked about. It's just trying to get that. Do you like our song? And will you spread it all through the world about us? And if you can get it to that point, like the Old Town Road, then it's infectious. And then everyone's like, I'm sick of this song. That's when you got a hit.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to create, that algorithm where it's like, how do you get into that formula? We know the formula, but how do you break that formula? And then how do you make everyone enjoy your music? Because everyone has an opinion, and everyone's going to be like, this is outdated. This is, sounds like Breaking Ben, or this sounds like this, or everyone's going to have an opinion. And it's like, how do we make those people like it regardless? That's the
infect them with your music.
Yeah. So if you can infect them and then make them take a vaccine to make them feel like everything's going to be fine, that's the formula. Like,
and to what he's saying is like, it's hard to get the stuff out to the people that are already our fans. They just, they've been around for a long time. We've been asking us like when we're coming out with new stuff, but like, it's like you can put the stuff out, but there's so much stuff out there that it's hard to just break through, and they won't even see it, even if they've been paying attention to you. And like the algorithms on all the social media sites change every so often too. So it's like everything's different now than like 2009 was the last release. The whole
people get older, and they're just like, like when I see people, they're like, yo, I used to listen to you when I was in first grade, and I'm like,
yeah, I mean, so we put this out. It's been out for like a week now, and we thought like we got to, like it's hard to even judge how many eyes that that past fans like listen to it now or heard it. And I sent out a mailing list blast. Like we got like 1,100 people on our mailing list. Not a lot of people, but I sent a blast out a couple of days ago, and it was like, we got a few people like text me that were like, were our fans and friends and stuff, and came to our shows. Like, it's like, yo, you got a new song out? I'm like, yeah, how'd you find out? They're like, oh, the mailing list. I'm like, all right, so people do actually read email still, and so everything is like helps a little bit. You just got to get those pieces together and just make it a unified effort because.
Well, Vali, you guys had a pretty good fan base until the band kind of separated for a little bit, right?
Yeah, and like to their credit, man, a lot of them stuck around and like are still here for us, and like they're just blowing up our social media. But I wonder how many people we haven't been able to reach that still don't know, but would love to hear our new stuff. So that's why it's great to do things like, with you, Jan, on this station. Hopefully, like people will see some of that and they're like, oh, I remember that band. I actually got some new stuff out, and they'll look at us, go check us out, because we got over the next 6-12 months, we got a lot coming out. So
that's really exciting.
And we're hoping like the story is like you breaking the band, like Rush getting broken in like WWMS in my hometown in Cleveland, Ohio. They were the first radio station in the States to take that chance. And because of that, they're Rush. It's like, those are the stories I love to hear. It's like, just believe in our band. Like, labels don't sign bands anymore and take those chances. It's either like, well, yeah, we hear a song, but we just don't know how to promote it because rock's dead. I'm so sick of hearing that. I wish people would just say, you know what?
These musicians say that rock is dead, because I'm like, well, you clearly haven't discovered all the bands that I've been listening to, because.
Yeah, I mean, there is, like Vali said, believe it or not, I find a lot of bands on YouTube, because it's like, it takes you from makeup tutorials to earpods and then this and this, and then before you know it, you're in this rabbit hole of music of bands you've never even heard of, and you're like, They got like 46,000 views in like 3 days. I've never even heard of this band. And I think Volley is right. I think YouTube is a great platform to find new artists, because it kind of does like a Pandora thing. It puts you in this genre and then kicks you into this song and then this song. And then 6 hours later, you're digested so much music. And they're like, where are these guys? Yeah, these guys are as good as anything out there. Why aren't they any bigger than Breaking Ben or anything like that? And then you start to realize they just don't have the funds. They don't have the moral support. You know, they do have an underground following, but you know, that's another thing. Like Volley has the band has an underground following of true fans, but will the true fans like the new stuff? Then you start fighting that. It's like, so it's like chasing your tail all the time. It's like, you got to learn in this business, as long as I've been in it, you can't make everyone happy. So you got to make yourself happy, and then hopefully use that Nirvana mentality. We're playing music for ourselves, and if you like it, come aboard. If you don't, then we'll just keep going.
Yeah. No,
You know?
I think that's very true. And if the rest of the songs are anything like the first single, I think everyone's gonna love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's really nice of you. Thank you.
No, I think you guys are off to a good start.
Yeah, I mean, it's only time will tell mentality, right?
Yeah, we're definitely going to push it, make sure it can't fail, because I think the quality is there. And after we've been hearing from the fans, the feedback is like, this sounds just like your old stuff, but like more mature, better, and so that's exactly what I want to hear. And not to say that
as an engineer too.
Yeah, well, we all have. We've all grown in our own areas, and it's cool that we got those. We could take advantage of it now. So, just looking forward to. And this is just the beginning, so like we could definitely take it in different directions. We kind of look at this band as more like a production company too, in a lot of ways, because we don't, like we could try different things. We could release different versions of the song, which is what we're looking to do. I just made an 8-bit version of the song just because I like, they have those playlists on Spotify that do 8-bit hits, and it's just like listening to old Nintendo music, but with the hooks of today's stuff. And I always like hearing a different take on it, a song, because a good song is a good song. It's just the melody and the beat, everything together, and you can simplify it down to its basic form, and it's still a good song. So I think going forward, hopefully we can take advantage of some of those things, because I mean, Matt's got a lot of Matt, whatever you want to call him, he's got a lot of he's got a lot of different tastes than like a lot of us in music, so he could actually add a different vibe to some of these songs if we release an alternate version of these. It's just something we're kind of looking into doing, but we want to do it right, so it's going to take a little bit of time to figure that out, but I think it'll be worth trying, because not a lot of bands are doing that either.
Absolutely.
And when they say bands are outdated too, it's like bands aren't outdated, you just haven't listened to this band. They've been doing it way longer than the bands you think they ripped off. They just never got their calling, but they've been doing this sound way longer.
Yeah, or nobody's heard of them, and they just think, that they're a ripoff. Nah.
Yeah, and I think we're a smorgasbord of different genres, like Volley was saying, like scuba and all that. And Marcus has a unique voice, and to me, you need that lead singer to drive that band. You need the vocals and the melodies and the lyric content, and I think he checks every box.
Yeah, it's definitely memorable. And
yeah,
something that's distinctive and will stand out.
He has a soothing voice. I don't want to blow up his ego anymore, but
soothes me to sleep every night.
He can sing me to sleep.
It looks like Zoom is going to kick us off in a minute, because they only limit you to like 40 minutes. So,
but, yeah, you got to look Zoom for that, right?
But I really appreciate chatting with you guys, and I'm really excited for you all, and can't wait to see what you have coming up in the pipeline.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise. Appreciate doing this.